more we learn, the more you know.
Yep.
The better you do.
One of our avid listeners of the audio and this week is Julia, and she says, is anyone feeling stressed? Does anyone need to flex their buttocks?
Julia. She gonna bring that up.
She know the story.
She knows the story. That's impressive.
That's still growing.
And I just want to know, I want you to know my buttocks are flexed right
now.
Right now. Yeah,
well,
baby.
Then release. And release.
Come on over here, baby. Flex your buttocks. Down me. It's good. It's good to you.
We just relived that story at dinner tonight.
Oh gosh.
Dan, do we want to go there?
I think so. I think there might be some people who haven't seen or heard it.
You didn't see episode 8?
Episode 8.
So
it was
Dan tells the story better.
Or hear it.
So I'm gonna I want Dan to tell it.
You want Dan to tell it?
I'm tired of talking to anyone. I'm gonna drink some bourbon.
This is a story of how Dan and Paul met.
That sounds like the beginning of a rap song.
I think other than Gene Whedon, I might know Paul longer than anybody else in town.
Everybody.
Yeah, I mean, besides his family, obviously.
Yeah, baby.
I've known him a long time.
It's a long time.
So Dan, Paul, how did you guys meet?
So let me preface this, and I'm gonna turn Dan loose. But let me preface this by saying that I finished my PhD when I was 25. I was a kid. I was a baby. I was wet behind the ears. I was green as the grass, and I was like just hell-bent to get that thing done. And I did, and I got a call from one of my favorite people in the whole wide world in the history of ever, and he and Joe Shelton and Donna Shelton just celebrated their anniversary. Happy anniversary, guys. I know they won't be listening to this, but anyway, he was the chair of the Department of Psychology. He calls me up and says, hey, we'd like you to come back and teach in the psych department. And I don't know if that is like, to me, this was like Methuselah, God on high, something calling me, and I was like, of course I'll come and make $23,000 a year when my friends are making $100 in 1989.
Right.
Oh,
Of course I'm going to come back.
Because you're going to do it for the Lord.
I'm doing it for the Lord. And I signed a thing that said I would not drink, smoke, chew, or go out with girls who do. You know what I mean? So anyway, that's the preface. I was a young green psychology professor at SBU. God bless them. And I was asked to do in Joe Shelton's classroom, Davis Theater. I was asked to do a talk on stress management.
Stress management.
And by God,
circa
I was
1989.
managing some stress.
Circa 1989.
And guess who else happened to be there?
So, Dan.
Take it away.
Take it away.
Regardless of our story, it still was a wonderful experience for him because his whole thing was on stress.
It was.
So he was already stressed just because of everything he just said. I mean, it was
yes. Can you imagine being basically a kid talking to this whole Davis Theater, a couple hundred people, maybe?
Yeah.
You know, like a whole thing, and your first like major lecture at your job, and so I was stressed.
Like you were stressed.
So thanks, Dan.
Yeah.
Thanks for understanding my realities and being so concerned.
So those who don't know what the hell we're talking about, and most of you, I don't say most. Some of you do.
Say Dan was in that class.
Dan was in that class.
So when he says he was working at SBU, I went to school at SBU in 1989. This could have been 1990. I can't remember, but it was somewhere around there.
You're college freshman-ish.
So I was in Joe Shelton's class. He was a fantastic psychology teacher. Everybody at the school loved this dude. He was fun, but it was also a good class. He's the one that announced to us that we're going to have a guest speaker. This just, all right, cool. So we're hanging out, and this guy,
this guy.
Did you know use guys? Guys.
That's where that came from, isn't it? I still use that from episode 8. This guy.
Fucking guy.
Fucking guy.
This guy comes out on stage, and he's going to be the guest speaker. Well, in my defense, the entire class, for some reason, decided to just turncoat on this dude.
It was like freshman in high school substitute teacher.
I mean, it was
maybe
just
because I was not that much older than them.
Right.
Yeah.
I did not command authority like Joe Shelton did. Like, who's this fucking kid? Yeah, right. He's wearing a Chess King jacket. Like, I have the same jacket he's wearing.
Yes.
Yes. So there was just a lot of it. I mean, it was so obvious and even so uncomfortable to us that we were being this way. I mean, at least for me, I just felt like, why are we all being addicted to this guy? Like,
No, there's no reason.
in the beginning,
He
this
seems
is what
nice.
I'm. Yeah.
He seems like a nice kid.
And he's just talking, and it just. I tell stories the way they felt. Maybe this isn't exactly how it happened, but it just felt like we all, went our separate ways and started having full conversations with each other while he's on stage.
Total talking?
Kind of, yeah. There was just a lot
assholes.
of whispering and a lot of boo-boo and giggling and stuff.
By the way, just excellent prepreration for being a musician later in life, where nobody pays any fucking attention
There
to
you
you
go.
whatsoever
There
while
you
you're
go.
playing your heart out. So it works.
Perfect.
Continue, please.
Yes. So he does start this lecture, and it is all about stress. And he's kind of going through all of the, the boring science of it. What he does. That's what he does. You know what I mean? So anyway,
The boring science. That's what he does. Jerk.
that's a joke. That's a joke. Step off my dick. Anyway, so he's kind of going through the real definitions, all these things. Later in the lecture, he starts to talk about how you can physically deal with
The
it.
physiology.
And there was several different examples of this and that and all these things. One of them was to actually flex your muscles and then kind of release them, and then flex them and then release them. And he went through kind of head to toe. So we all saw it coming. I mean, you can flex your biceps and you can do your triceps and your stomach muscles. And we're like, oh, here he goes.
Go.
You know where we're going.
go.
We're going south.
Go.
Everything's going south.
Flex
Everything.
your buttocks. And,
The largest muscles in your body.
knowing the
Should
scenario.
have said glutes.
Yeah.
That was my mistake. In retrospect, glutes.
It's not as funny.
It's not as triggering for a 19-year-old to say gluteus maximus. To say buttocks, but because it has butt in it,
Right.
Of
which is still
course.
funny
Always funny.
now.
And he had
It's
already
totally-
signed the contract that said he's not allowed to say ass.
No, I can say that it's in the Bible.
Oh, that's
right.
Ass and hell and damn,
Those are
they're all in the
allowed.
Bible, so it's good.
Okay.
He says, flex your buttocks. And of course, now everyone pays attention for 2 seconds.
Silence.
And we're just like, not yet. Not yet. And we all just laughed at him like, ah. So then he continues on. And he's talking more about stuff like this. We get past that moment. And then the chattering just starts getting worse and worse. The paying attention to him just starts getting less and less. Everyone's visiting with their neighbors. He's trying to wrap up his lecture, and it is out of control how much we're not paying attention to him. And he actually snaps. He absolutely snaps. After he just gave a 40-minute lecture on stress, he broke down, stressed out, and he was like, this is the best part of the whole thing.
I don't know.
He's like, oh my gosh, none of you guys are listening to me. He actually said, you're really stressing me out. So when he raised his voice, everyone went quiet, and I tried to whisper to my friend next to me, flex your buttocks. Like this, I did a callback. It was comedic genius. It was like, did a callback. I was like, flex your buttocks. Right
At 19.
At 19.
And he heard me. I was only at about the 10th row. And he goes, what did you say? And I was like, I said, flex your buttocks. Of course, being a smart ass. But at the same time, I was listening to the lecture.
That's right.
Like, I'm taking your
You got through to him, Paul. You got through to him.
And
then
I
he's
should
just-
have known that.
He just dead stares at me for a split second and goes, flex your own buttocks. Then it was nothing but train wreckery from there until the end. Joe Shelton got pissed at us. He got up and basically kind of gave us all the what for. And the rest of the following 10 minutes was just not good.
Bedlam.
Oh my
It was
gosh.
bedlam. So anyway,
Dogs and cats sleeping together. Mass hysteria.
Horses without dogs.
so I never
Dogs
see
without horses.
this guy again.
Right.
And so I go about my way. I ended up
This guy.
Fucking guy.
This fucking guy.
The chusking fucking jacket.
So I never see him again
Until
30. Well, let's say 30 years.
fast forward to what, 2014?
Let's say 1990. So 30, 14.
I can't do math.
24 years.
Where's Joe Dillstrom?
Long
Yeah,
ass
something
time.
like 24, 25 years later.
Yeah.
You get invited to sing
Sing the part of
Sing
Mary.
the part of Mary at this church that used to do the Jesus Christ Superstar for Easter, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And so it was a neat. They sort of
Loved
played
it.
parts of the movie, and then they actually performed live
Yeah.
some of the songs. And I actually went to one of the rehearsals with you. Mm-hmm. And there's this guy.
There's this guy. Old cocky Jesus himself.
Cocky Jesus
Cocky
wearing
Jesus.
a different jacket. though.
Yeah.
I did not have that jacket.
I didn't recognize him at all. I forgot all about that guy that gave that stress lecture. I told the story 100 times, but I never saw him again. I didn't even know his name.
Yeah.
So we go to this church to start rehearsing for this thing, and there's this guy on stage, and I'm just like, who is that dude? Like, I'd never heard of him. I didn't know who.
I came over. I was like, Paul Thomlinson.
Paul Thomlinson. I
I
was
think
like-
he's like a psychologist or something.
I don't know. He's striking me kind of weird. Like, I have like not a good feeling in my soul.
Ajida.
When
I got me some Majida.
When I look at him, I feel like I recognize him, but it doesn't feel positive. Something feels
You're
negative.
right. There's some unfinished business
I don't,
over here.
I don't bear witness with him.
That was good, man. That was really a good. Talk about a callback.
Right?
Yeah.
Right?
And I still don't make the connection. You'd get invited another year later, and there's that guy again, and I'm getting that same feeling, and I nenever saw him.
Jesus
perform
always
or-
comes back for Easter.
He
Yes,
keeps
yes.
coming back for Easter.
Yeah, he was there.
So you told me his name. I get on Facebook. I was like, there's something about this dude,
He
and
researched this.
oh yeah, I totally.
Some would say stalked.
Yeah, I stalked him
Some
a
would
bit.
say.
Some would say.
I go over to his page and I see that he went to SBU, and I see that he's a psychology major, and I'm like,
It's that guy.
It's
I
like-
know
it's
that
like-
guy.
It's that
Like
guy.
the scene from The Usual Suspects, where Kobayashi, all this stuff starts like falling into place. Like, it's that guy.
guy.
Fucking Kaiser Soze. It's limping out of the room.
Whatever that music is for rewinding. And I was
Kaiser
sitting,
Soze of psychology.
and I found myself at 2 a.m. drunk and scoping Paul Tomlinson's page, and now I'm sitting.
but I mean, who hasn't?
I'm sitting.
Really?
Yeah.
That is true.
That's not true.
I find myself in Davis Theater in slow motion, like flex your butt.
And it made him laugh.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
did. So now I'm like, okay, now this has got to come out
We
because
have to talk to him.
even if he hates me, he has to know.
He has to know.
So I still don't know him as a friend. I hadn't seen him. I walk into Cody South one time. It's currently Georgia Max, and this guy is
Different jacket.
this guy is
In a
at the
different
bar.
jacket.
And I think that night you were either waiting on someone or just there by yourself. It seems like he was alone from what I remember. And I just literally walked up and like on his shoulder. I was like, hey, I know you don't really know me. Like I saw the Jesus Christ Superstar stuff, whatever. I was like, did you used to teach psychology or something like that at SVU? And he's like, well, yeah. Kind of this, and that. And I was like, do you remember a guy like disrupting one of your classes and telling you to flex your buttocks? And all of a sudden, that's when we connected. Like, this invisible thing. Like, I do remember that.
And I would like credit for not strangling him, choking
Yes.
him out
Yes.
at Cody South.
That's right.
I didn't choke him out. I didn't physically aggress against him in any way. And
Your Honor.
No.
Your Honor. No, really, Your Honor.
Your Honor.
It's okay. He survived the encounter, is what I'm saying. That was so fantastic, though. Like, it really was. Like, wow. All
Making that
came
connection.
back.
It was so
Because
wild.
we all knew of each other around
Right.
town. We just
100%.
didn't know each other.
Sure.
Yeah, and I was a fan even, and then to know that I was a fan of a guy that was a complete asshole at 19. No, he was just being a 19, and it
He
was
was being 19.
and he gave us a story that we can still tell 30
That's
something
right.
years later.
And we told it again after, how long ago
you
was
know
your
what?
episode?
But one of the things I've really been thinking about a lot lately, and it's probably because of that Ericksonian life review thing, when you look back and you think, a lot of folks that you shared things with are no longer with us. And it's like, you're the keeper of the memory palace. You're the only one who has that now.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm just grateful always for friends who, especially, and there's nothing like old friends, and folks you've known for a long, long time that nobody else has that, Well, now other people have it, but that's our thing, I mean, we go back and we have history, and we have that thing that to this day still think about regularly, makes me smile, makes me laugh out loud sometimes, and I mean, man, that's part of what life's about.
Yeah.
Is shared memories. I mean, there's no better investment than that, and sometimes you can't engineer them. You'd never I'm gonna make this, I would never have chosen that as a 25-year-old dumbass, new doctorate, whatever, but man, I'm so glad that happened, and that's just there's some magic to that.
There's magic, yeah.
Here we are,
and here we are
now.
in this very room again, hanging out and
that's
talking.
very cool. In this very room.
In this.
Tune in live every Thursday night at 7 p.m. Central.
On the Unsung Screamers Facebook page, YouTube channel, and Twitter.
And check out our Unsung Screamers podcast.
Wherever you get your podcasts.
Ah!